my name's Nigel. I am the singer and songwriter of the Plymouth UK-based indie funk band The Curve, and this is my podcast. Welcome. This is called Songs Nobody Asked Me For, and it's a bit of an impromptu one today. Sun is shining. It's very hot, so I'm kind of coming in this room here to hide a little bit from the relentless sunshine of a lovely day, but I will try and make the most of some of it in a while. I find myself in a sort of songwriting chipper mood today, which is nice because I've had some revelations over the last few days. This process has been really cathartic to me, and I'm really enjoying it. And even if nobody ever watches this, I kind of think, well, maybe it's been helpful to me. The verbal expression of unsaid things in your head. You know, this is part of the point and purpose of psychotherapy in a way. Is, you know, often people hold things in their heads, and the power from when they're holding it keeps them more powerful. And once the words are expressed, sometimes the power in those dilemmas dissipates slightly. And I felt that a little bit in this dilemma, really. Not that the power's gone, but it's shifting. It's making me really think about what it is that I have a dilemma with, and some days that I don't have the dilemma, you know. And I guess there's been a couple of things that have happened that I've really enjoyed, and one number one is we played a gig on Saturday night, which is we played on a Saturday night. We're very excited about that. We played quite a big venue. We played the Exeter Phoenix, and it's like a new bands night, 4 bands on, but it means for us we get big stage and we get 2 sound engineers, you know, which is, I remember that from the band in London, and very occasionally you play somewhere like the Rock Garden, you'd get a sound engineer for the main sound and you get a sound engineer for the stage, and for us at our level, that's luxury, absolute luxury. So that was really nice, and get some great photos, videos, and Brad's partner is fantastic at doing those. And, you know, big shout out to Lynn, because she does all this stuff, and we really appreciate it, But we played there once before, same thing, sort of about a year, 18 months ago, and it was pretty flat. You know, there wasn't many people there, but Saturday night, man, this is, what are we on Monday now? Saturday night was mad, as in, for us, there were about 40 people. This is about a third full, but full of people that were into what we were doing. The atmosphere was warm, people were dancing, and I've said this here before, that, you know, if I need is 1 or 2 people engaged, but we had probably 3/4 or more of that audience engaged, and probably the whole audience. But there were people moving. There was a couple of people in the corner. They were really dancing. There was a woman with her hands up and doing, and it was fantastic. And I have one of these little radio plug-in lead things where, you know, I plug one end into my setup, one end into the guitar, and it means I can move around. And partly I did it because I was forever, the lead that I have on it was forever, on a normal lead, just used to flop sometimes over my pedals, and because I can't see it, you know, once I'm singing, a quick look down and think, oh shit, the lead's in the way, and then really struggling to do anything about that. But because this radio lead is great, and so it means I can not have that worry. But for the first time ever, and partly because I felt confident, because people were into it, and that I could move all over that stage, and I was getting up next to John, and then going over to Brad, turning around, having a look at Gray, and I could do all of that stuff when I wasn't singing, which I really enjoyed. I really felt I made a bit more of the space. And yeah, a really positive buzz. And then I've just seen on Instagram another guy called Robert. Maybe I'll put the link below, because if anybody that's interested, but he put some great pictures on it. They have a couple of photographers there, and I think they're freelance guys, but just, you know, it's a few really great pictures. So for me, I came back sort of buzzing, really. And just as Brad and I left, it was a funny thing and a not funny thing, because we parked in a car park down the road, and Brad said, oh, we can kind of wheedle our way through Ecstasy Centre to this venue. It's not really got a proper car park, but you can go there. It's around the back streets of the city centre, and we could load up the stuff and go. So I said, well, all right, my car's there, I'll follow you. So I follow him all the way around, and we go a long way around, and then we get along this road that's really just small in the city centre. Now, a police van comes around the other way, stops us both, and then we drive along on a pedestrian zone. And I thought, oh no, so the police got out, and we got out, and they were proper lovely and very nice. But it took a little while, and the guy speaking to me was asking me if I'd been drinking, smoking, which I hadn't, and it kind of just, it was all like a little moment of, oh my goodness. But, you know, it adds a bit of an edge to the night, I suppose. They let us off. In the end, they just said, oh, it looks like an honest mistake, which it was. Um, but after all of that, just walking into the venue as a young guy and his partner outside, and he just said, oh man, I just want to say what a great set you did. I just said, oh, thanks, and he said, oh, you're really talented. And I thought, oh, it's a little stroke. That's all I need, a little stroke. And he said, yeah, that's great, man. And I said, oh, thanks a lot. And he said, no, no, thank you. He said, but he said it very genuinely. And whoever that guy is, I really appreciate it, really. It's just, you just sometimes need a little bit of positive reinforcement to just think, no, I'm okay with this, I'm okay with this. So that was good, and so that was the first good thing. And the next thing that kind of happened then was Glastonbury's gone on all weekend, and last night my wife and I kind of decided to sit down and we'd watched in the afternoon. We were having one of them sort of crashing on the sofa days, really, and in the afternoon we'd watched a couple of full sets. We watched Pulp and we watched Scissor Sisters, which was just wild and fantastic, really. We watched a bit of the 1975. And I got listed because I kind of thought, I'm never going to remember who I saw, because we saw quite a bit of Biffy Clyro as well. It's okay. And but then in the evening, what we did was we went to the BBC bit that says tracks not to miss, as it were, and we just went through, and people either we didn't know or we wanted to sort of see for the first time, and I didn't really know much about a couple of old ones. We just watched 1, 2, 3 tracks that were on there, really. And I have a list of these because it was great. We watched Lewis Capaldi. Charlie XCX. I've not seen that. I kind of, it's interesting. And Lord, Alanis Morissette, Ray, lots of young women here. Gracie Adams. Oh, and we watched the Ezra Collective. Lola Young, really like Lola Young. And the thing we enjoyed the most was the Marabou State, which I've never seen that band before. And I was and one of the things I was struck by watching all of this Glastonbury stuff, and this afternoon I was watching a couple of older bands like Supergrass and Franz Ferdinand, and just 1 track, 2 tracks. And I was thinking, music is mad, really, isn't it? Because you've got all of these people. There was one band, I'm trying to think who it was I was watching. It might be Alanis Morissette, it was great, But you have this massive, thousands and thousands of people all singing the words, mouthing it. And then you look at her, and then maybe you look at, say, the 1975 and then playing, and you look at Pulp playing, and you look at Charlie XCX performing, and you kind of think, these musical icons and people who play, all this music is just so different. I know it's really obvious, but, music as a creation of music is so different. And each person, I guess, who creates music, who's a songwriter or a performer, and they'll do it in their own way. And some of them have massive self-confidence and some of them don't. Some of them come across as just really nice, straight people. And I mean straight as in sort of, just normal day-to-day sort of people. Some of them really edgy, some of them really out there, some of them really artistic. Just such a range of people. And I find it kind of quite interesting, really. And I'm wondering whether maybe it's true of other areas. Do sports people come from such a diverse background? I don't know. Maybe they do. But it kind of, I don't know why it filled me with encouragement, but just, maybe there's something about this podcast that, on the one hand, I want it to be, I've always said I don't want it to be a sort of me, sort of having a pity party about things. I'm curious about why I hang in songwriting. I'm curious about how I manage that sometimes frustration at the fact that I would have liked to have succeeded more in it than I did. Something keeps me going, something that I just love doing it, but sometimes I get a bit despairing of it. But, it made me realise that, of course, that's my experience of being a songwriter, and that lots and lots of different songwriters will have lots and lots of different experiences. And I was mindful of this a little also on the Saturday night when we were gigging, and there were 3 young bands or young musicians playing with us. The first one was a band. They were hilariously lovely. They were a great band, very very influenced by Radiohead, I think, and they were just funny. I mean, my eldest was in a band when he was 18, and they reminded me of them. And they turned up. They didn't have any amps with them because they'd been at work, and the guitarist, his guitar wouldn't work. The electrics needed sorting out, and there was a bit of me, old man stuff, dad stuff, thinking, what would you not have sorted that out before you come along? You're doing a gig at a big venue, and your brought guitar doesn't work. And he was asking around if someone had lent. Oh, we'd already lent him an amp because Brad's amp was being used for this band because they didn't have any amps. They needed two. He didn't have a guitar, and they weren't going to be able to play properly. And I was with my lovely green Gretsch guitar for the first time, my first gig with my new, quite expensive for me guitar, and I was in such a quandary. And but if Brad would have been open to lend his guitars, which I'm not sure he would have quite rightly, he's left-handed, so his guitars are left-handed. The other guitarist that was there playing at the end, he's left-handed. So this is literally the only guitar that anybody could lend him. So I lent it to him. I felt so... I brought the case over, I put it on the stage, and I opened it up, and I just said to him, it's not going to be the sort of guitar you're used to using, and I'm going to tell you, it's brand new, and this is the first time I'm ever going to use it. I'm going to let you use it first. And I'm really nervous about that. And he was like, oh, I'll be all right, man, I'll be all right. And he was, and it was great. And it was, for me, it was quite interesting just to watch somebody using my guitar and seeing that it sounded pretty good, really. It sounded pretty good. So they were playing. And then there was a young singer-songwriter, nice guy, and playing. I loved this because he said that he writes miserable songs about fields sometimes. And that was, it's one of the ways I used to introduce myself was as a miserable singer-songwriter. And so somebody talking about writing miserable songs about fields, and I said afterwards, because he had a lovely tone and a really sort of nice sound to his guitar, and I said afterwards that, I'm really interested now in trying to write a song about a miserable field, really. And then band at the end, it was one guy, and it was his name, but there was this massive big band of him, bass player and the drums, and they had this brass section, and they were playing sort of quite funky stuff, which I think fitted with us, really. And I was thinking, wow, that's really nice. And he was so calm but exuberant about his songs, really. Like he was kind of like very famous and saying, oh, yeah, this is one of my latest release. And I was kind of smiling to myself. And when I link the two together, the diversity of what you see at Glastonbury, and of course there'd be more diversity out in the world, and then seeing these other people singing, it made me think that one of the things I'm going to do more in this podcast, I think, I got to step up in confidence a bit, is I'm going to try and interview some other songwriters, and maybe that would be interesting to you. I don't know. Songwriters, I don't call it this level, but sort of people that are just out there. But I'm really interested in interviewing a couple of young songwriters, just to be curious and remind myself of maybe what I was like when I was kind of in that sort of young, I'd say naive, I don't mean that condescendingly, naive, sort of enthusiastic, we're going to make it type of place, rather than this, oh blimey, I'm knackered because I'm not going to make it. How do I find a space to be in this and be feeling good about it and sort of feeling okay about it, I think. So that's going to be interesting. I was thinking of one or two people in Plymouth I know, and again, of different ages, of people I know that have been around a while, and I think, yeah. So I'm really excited because Pav's meeting me tomorrow on Zoom to do an interview for this. So I'm so excited about it. And when I've done that, I think I'm going to try and pick one of these people, and I may contact this young lad that was playing last and just say, yeah, would you mind meeting up? I'm going to tell them I'm doing this podcast, see if he'll come along. And just find out what makes people tick when they're writing songs, and whether they look far into the future, whether they always have an idea that they're going to succeed, or whether people are just quite happy to do that at that level. And I guess maybe there's a mix of people, really. And I wonder if I've never quite been contented enough to play and write at the level I'm at. I want more. Maybe that's a good thing, to sort of strive for more. But it's been enjoyable, and I feel pretty up about it. And what all this has done is I was watching that Malibu State yesterday and really getting into grooves. And then I went to bed, and in the morning I just was starting to get my own little groove going. I've just been super songwriting today about a song, and what I mean by that is like maybe 3 times, 5 times in my life, I've started a song and it's just like been on and on and on in my head, and I've just written it straight away. And that's what I've done today. I've got a little bit of a bridge thing to do, which I'm going to do in a minute. I'm so excited about it. Well, that enthusiasm of just kind of really having an idea, liking it. And I messaged Graham, our drummer, really early this morning, saying, look, I've got this rhythm, and this is a rhythm I'd like you to do. And then here's a bit of a song I've written. I'd like you to do this. And here's some more of the song. And I said to him in the end, like, I'm really sorry. Usually I do this on my own. And I think when John and I met, John was saying that very often that's a process that I'll do with John. First of all, I'll write a song and I'll send it to John. But very occasionally, 2 or 3 times, the rhythm of something has been so important that I've sent it to Gray first and said, look, do you think you could play this? Because I have a particular rhythm in my head, or drum beat, because the rhythm of the guitar playing at the moment, it will change, sounds similar to one of our other songs, but not the same. And sometimes we can all go down the rabbit hole of just, we'll play something and I'll play something and the guys will go, oh no, it's like this. And then because your head's there, you want to go in that place. Now my head's been in a, this is completely different. So I figured if I get Gray to work out a rhythm that's completely different to the one that I'm worried people might think it is, then that might leave us in this place of a new song. Because I often think this about new songs, but I think it's a really good song, really quite a strong song actually. I think it's going to be good. I don't always think that about new songs, but with this one I think, yeah, at the moment I'm feeling really good about it. I knew what to write about straight away. It was kind of really good. And I think it's the combination of a good gig, feeling positive, watching Glastonbury and this range of amazing performers. I really did enjoy them all, and people that I knew, a little, or that my sons were into, or that I didn't know at all. And yeah, really looking for. I'm going to check more of them out, on social media and just try and get to know some more of them really. And particularly, yeah, Malibu State's going to be one, but all the other ones as well, really. So from all of that positive energy comes a positively energized song, and which I'm looking forward to really. Um, wow, listen to me, Mr. Positive, Mr. Constructive. I don't know what's going on really. It's not good enough really. I think it's good to embrace these things sometimes and to show you, I guess. And maybe that's just the thing about creative people, if I'm going to be really creative me. Um, Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down. Sometimes you feel really positive about what you're doing, you're full of energy for it, and sometimes you feel really negative and lost. And when you're lost, sometimes you're right at your best, and sometimes when you're up, you're right at your best. And there are places in the middle where I get lost and I fall down into little rabbit holes of gloom and despair, I think. But maybe that's okay. That's okay. I'm quite excited as well because I don't know whether I shared this, but Graham has been talking about wanting to make a shift in what he does in the band. He wasn't a drummer originally; he played con, and I think he wants. I see it as he wants to be liberated from the drums a little bit, and he'd like to be a percussionist. And he's often said that. He said this a couple of times, and a couple of weeks ago, I just had more of a serious chat with him, and I said, like, is this something you're serious about? Because I could proactively seek a new drummer. And he said, yeah, I'd really like to do it. And I'm excited because I think it brings more body to the band. I think he's going to be great. It would be great at doing that. We might need to get him some percussion, some bigger stuff, sort of, congas and stuff like that he could properly join us. And it also gives us the opportunity to look for a pretty fine drummer, really, which is nerve-wracking and slightly scary, but also quite excited to see whether we find somebody that's. I want somebody that could add to us and maybe is an even better drummer and brings something new and like raises us up. But absolutely at the bottom of it all, they've got to fit in with us really because I've often said, I like being in bands with nice people. I don't need egos or arguments really, and never really had those. So yeah, long may it last. Well, look, I'm going to go and do some more work on this song, which is another thing, really. I've just got everything set up here, ready to go. My equipment's all ready, the guitar's there. Just got to switch the amp on, and I'm going to rock it out for a while. And yeah, next one of these is hopefully going to be an interview with Pav. So really excited about that, and look out for some other interviews as we go forward. Really, I think. Please subscribe to this. I haven't said that for a while, but obviously I'm guessing that's pretty normal. We're now on the last day of June, and my plan is in 2 weeks' time to put out my advert for this to say that it's going to start on the 1st of August. That's my plan. So I've got 12 episodes in the can now. This will be 13, 14 with Pab, possibly 15 if I do 2 parts to that. And yeah, I need to step into it. Yeah, thanks for your time. Do check out the band. Hashtag Music the Curve. If you look on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see a little bit of video of us playing live there. And I'm going to put a link to this guy's photographs in the chat here. So I can't remember his name. But because I only just had a message from him sort of linking me into that stuff. And yeah, maybe if you want to have a look at those, check them out. That would be great. Okay, have a great day. I hope it's as sunny where you are and nice where you are. It's not too warm, but it is. I'm lying actually. It's really really hot out there. But in my little room here, it's nice and cool. Okay, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you again soon.
I open my mind, doing what's safe. Try to act in a better way. I open my mind, doing what's safe. Try to act in a better way. I open my mind, doing what's safe. Try to act in a better way.